The Mighty 790 KFGO. Welcome back to The Drive. I'm Dan Michaels, along with Paulie Lyons, our producer, Paul Juergens in the KFGO News Center. Drive Time News Hour is up in about 15 minutes from right now. We are very honored to be joined by tax expert Dennis Brager today. Dennis is a former trial attorney for the IRS. Dennis is a California State Bar Certified Tax Specialist, former senior attorney, trial attorney for the Internal Revenue Service's Office of Chief Counsel. How about those props? He is the founder of the Brager Tax Law Group, which is a Los Angeles-based tax litigation and tax controversy law firm. And he joins us this afternoon from Los Angeles. Good afternoon, Mr. Brager, sir.
Good afternoon, Dan.
It's great to have you with us today here on Tax Deadline Day. I imagine there's a certain amount of people out there that are panicking right now, having to get everything done by midnight tonight. So, Mr. Brager, I guess I want to start there. If people have been laid off due to the pandemic and they owe the IRS some money today, what can they do about it?
Well, the first thing they want to keep in mind is they need to either get that tax return filed today or file an extension, because there are two different sets of penalties, one for not paying and one for not filing. And the one for not filing is a lot worse. So even if you can't pay, get the return filed or get an extension. Pretty easy to get that extension. There's a form for it. Takes about 3 minutes to fill out. Stick it in the mail, and you at least have an extension to file until October 15th.
Dennis Brager is... I'm sorry, Dennis, I interrupted you. Please go ahead.
Keep in mind, though, that even though you'll get additional time to file the return, that's not an extension of time to pay. So what that means is that the IRS is going to charge you interest and penalties until such time as you get the balance paid in full. And that those penalties and interest, when you add it all up, it amounts to about an annual rate of 11%. So if you can get a loan from a friend, a relative, that might be the easiest way to go, or at least the cheapest way to go.
So, Mr. Brager, there are no special the special circumstances, of course, obvious that the IRS moved the tax deadline day from April 15th to July 15th, but aren't there any other special circumstances besides what you've just said regarding if you can't pay your taxes today?
Well, the problem is that there's no, the IRS is not given any broad relief. There are provisions which may well apply to people with problems due to COVID-19. So, for example, if you can demonstrate that you have, quote, reasonable cause for not paying your taxes on time, then the IRS will get rid of the penalty. So that's one way to get rid of the penalties. You're still going to have the interest. Another way is that the IRS has what I like to call the good boy rule. I guess it could be a good girl rule as well.
Okay. And
basically what that says is that if you filed and paid all of your taxes, income tax returns, on time for the prior 3 years, then they'll give you a pass. So again, no late payment penalties. So that's something else that can be explored. But again, the problem with all of these solutions is they're case by case. It's not a situation where you say the magic words COVID-19 and it all goes away.
I got you. Dennis Brager is joining us. He is a tax attorney, former trial attorney for the IRS, so he knows the inside scoop here. A lot of people today, Mr. Brager, like to do everything online. It's a quicker, less personal, less running around way of getting their stuff done. But when it comes to the IRS, in filing an extension today and et cetera, you have to go to the post office. You have to get the papers correct. You can't just go online and print a sheet off their website at the IRS and send it via the internet. You have to do this by the mail. Is that correct?
Well, actually, if you have the tax software and most of the tax software that people use to prepare and file their own tax returns, if they're doing that,
okay.
There is a way to do that online, or at least without going to the post office. Also, if you're using a tax professional, somebody preparing your tax return for you, they can take care of that for you. So, no, you don't necessarily have to go to the post office.
And I highly recommend you have somebody that helps you prepare your taxes. So if you are sitting in a situation here in Fargo, it's just about 10 minutes to 5 o'clock. You have till midnight tonight to make a move. I imagine everybody that prepares taxes is going to be open today until midnight, and then they're going on a long vacation. But is there anything your tax preparer can do if you don't have money today and you're not sure what you're going to do and pulling your hair out? Can you contact the person who is the people that are preparing your taxes? Can they assist you to walk you through this?
They can certainly do that. One of the things they can do is if you think that you might like to get a payment plan with the IRS, they can file a form. It's actually called a 9465. And that form, if you owe less than $50,000, it's a 2-page form. It needs to be filled out. Again, nothing too mind-boggling. And you fill that out. You get it off to the IRS with your tax return, and the IRS will give you up to 72 months, 6 years, to pay off that liability. Again, if it's under $50,000.
Boy, God bless you. If it's over $50,000, man, that's a that's a heck of a bill. So, if you wouldn't mind, Mr. Bragger, Dennis Bragger is joining us. He's got his own law firm after working with the IRS for many years. He is the founder of Bragger Tax Law Group, which is a Los Angeles-based tax litigation and tax controversy law firm. So, what took you from the IRS working for them to kind of on the other side of this?
Well, that's an interesting question. I've been on the other side for well over 30 years now, and there comes a point where you're at the IRS and you look around and you decide you want to do something else. You want to help people who are having problems, and I decided that's what I wanted to do with the rest of my career.
Well, I think that's an excellent move that you made. While you were working with the IRS, and all these years you've been working for people preparing their cases, litigation against the IRS or with the IRS, do you think the tax laws in the United States of America are fair?
Well, fair is really a loaded word. If you're paying a tax, you never think it's fair.
That's for sure.
I be honest with you, I try and stick to the world of what is and how I can help my clients work with what is, and I leave it to the politicians to worry about what should be.
I understand. So I'm not asking for anything derogatory about the Internal Revenue Service. We all love those guys. But you must have a story of the biggest shyster or culprit or weirdest thing that ever happened while you were working for the IRS and somebody tried to sneak one past the goalie?
Well, actually, the story that sticks out in my mind is there was a group. They called themselves the Institute of Individual Religious Studies, and they peddled the idea that people in general didn't have to pay any taxes. And what struck me was when I realized the acronym for this organization was IOIRS.
That's pretty good. That's very creative.
Yeah.
So
maybe not the wisest way to go,
no, but they're eventually going to get you. The IRS is definitely going to find you one day. So I hope everybody's being on the up and up with paying their taxes.
Well, what I tell people is people get frustrated with the Internal Revenue Service, and in many situations, it's not really the Internal Revenue Service. It's like when you're speeding. And maybe you're, going a little over the speed limit, and you get pulled over, and you say, well, look, I was only a little over the speed limit, or this is not a reasonable speed limit for this road. The point is that somebody in this, with taxes, somebody in Congress makes up these rules, and the IRS is tasked with enforcing them. So a lot of this, and going back to your question of are the tax laws fair, if you don't believe they're fair, then talk to your elected officials.
Yeah, get the law changed. So what's the best part about being the founder of Braggart Tax Law Group and helping people with their litigation, I assume, against the IRS? What's the best part of your job?
The best part of my job? It's when I can come back to a client and say, look, we've solved your problem. The IRS said that you owed $500,000, and, we can get it settled for, 10% of that.
That's got to be a great feeling.
It's people get pretty upset when dealing with the IRS. It can be pretty high stress if you have something going on. And part of my role is to take that stress off of people's shoulders, and that's something that I enjoy doing.
As we get out of here today, this is Dennis Braggart from the Braggart Tax Law Group, a Los Angeles-based tax litigation and tax controversy law firm. Do you have any words of comfort for people who are stressing out this afternoon, trying to beat this midnight deadline tonight?
Well, first of all, I would say, get that extension out. If you can't get the tax return out, get that extension out. It's not that difficult to do. There's maybe 3 questions on the whole form. Just get that out the door. And then, if I might wrap up with one piece of advice when you're dealing with the IRS, read what they send you. They send a lot of paperwork. It's real easy to gloss over, but you got to stop. You got to read every word because it matters.
All right, great advice. Sage advice, as a matter of fact, from Dennis Braggart of the Braggart Tax Law Group in Los Angeles. Mr. Braggart, it's been my pleasure to have you with us this afternoon. Thank you so much for your expertise. Hope you have a wonderful afternoon out on the coast.
Thank you. My pleasure to be here. Thanks for asking.
You bet. Take care.